Quick story, when I fired up my Miata for the first time after doing fancy injectors, new fuel lines, and the turbo kit, I had leaks everywhere. Why? Well, because I tightened up my AN fittings too hard, and I realized you don't actually have to tighten up the fuel fittings too hard. You just kind of snug it and then maybe a little quarter, and that's pretty much it. This is the Greddy unit right here, and it looks pretty dope. I got all the fancy AN lines that go in there. That's a -10, but we're talking about the fuel lines, and the fuel lines that go into the injectors and the rail. This guy right here, they're all covered with a rag. I do that because for the first time priming, I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a leak, and when I did my Miata, I didn't cover anything, and it freaking made a mess everywhere. And sometimes if you have a bad seal on your injectors on the fuel rail, it will leak. So as you can see, I have my fuel filter right there covered up. Over here, the inlet covered up, the return line, the feed line covered up, and I'm about to prime this beesnatch. So let's go in the car real quick, and let's see if it primes. The fuel filter, the fuel pump should prime, so let's listen for it. Okay, so that's good. That means I did my wiring right. So I'm gonna prime this a few times. Create pressure in the system. Okay, sounds good. Just gonna look for leaks. So I got pressure in the system. My gauge says, what is that, like 30 PSI? I don't see any leaks. No leaks. This extra step will save you a lot of hassle, trust me. When fuel gets all over the place, it is a nightmare. So nothing there. This is the type of OCD that I always have to go through because of past lessons that I've learned because I messed up. And always just like feel for it, and fuel is pretty easy, you can smell it. Okay, feel the bottom right here. No, it's good. This guy. That's crazy. Everything's dry. You know how hard it is to actually do something right the first time, because nothing ever goes right when it comes to working on cars. Like I freaking guarantee you something always goes wrong when you're working on cars. So there you go. That's what you got to do when you're checking your fuel lines for the first time. It's good to have a gauge because you know that it's actually being pressurized. So as you can see right there, it's pressurized. I mean, it actually goes down a little bit, but typically I think I want to set a baseline of like 40 PSI.